Okay, this meeting is called to order. If you haven't done so far, though, you might want to go in and check in and get your voting card to be able to vote tonight. Okay, welcome to the 2019 North Hampton School District Deliberative Session. This meeting is now officially open. We'll start by having School Board Chair James Sununu lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. James, did you have a comment?
Yep. Before we get to the general introductions, I just wanted to recognize Cindy Burke, who is here participating in her last deliberative session as a school board member, and thank her very much for the tireless work over the last 3 years on the school board. So, Cindy, thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to start with some introductions. Our supervisors of the checklist today are Hope Miller, Jane Morse, and Kevin Murphy. Again, if you haven't checked in, you can go to the back of the room to do check-in. School district clerk is Susan Buchanan. School board members James Sununu, Cindy Burke, Greg Duffy, Erin Stanton, and Tom Van Jess. Our principal is Eric Anderson, assistant principal and director of special services Tracy Griffinhagen, sitting in the front row. Curriculum coordinator Rebecca Carlson, also here in the front row. Superintendent is William Lupini. Business administrator Matt Ferrari. Legal counsel is Robert Casasa. Jonathan Panett is the chair of our budget committee, and we expect he'll be here shortly, but I'm going to have the budget committee members introduce themselves. Tamara.
Tamara Lay.
Rick Stanton.
Larry Miller.
Laurel Pohl.
Brian Good.
Frank Ferraro.
And I'm your moderator, Bobby Burns. Thanks to Luke and Troy doing the recording tonight of the deliberative session. The school deliberative session is our opportunity to meet as a legislative body. This is a gathering of all registered voters who wish to participate. This is not a school board meeting, nor is it a budget committee meeting. Though school board members and budget committee members are here, they are participating as registered voters just like you and I. This is your meeting. As such, if you don't understand something or need clarification, please just ask. At today's deliberative session, we will deliberate, amend articles, but actual voting on the warrant will be done by casting official ballots, which will be held on Tuesday, March 12th, here at the school. Accordingly, we may amend or modify, but not change the subject matter of any article. Discussion will be limited to what can be done at this meeting this evening. We will not vote to put an article on the warrant. All articles, either as is or amended, will be on the official ballot. Each article will be projected on the screen. The article will be moved to the floor and seconded. I will then recognize someone to provide a brief explanation of the article, then others will be allowed to speak. This is a meeting of registered voters. Others may attend, but non-voters will generally not be allowed to speak. School administrators and legal counsel, however, will be allowed to speak for providing information and clarification. Please come to the microphone to speak. If you can't come to the microphone, let me know and we'll bring it to you. Please show your voter card and state your full name for the minutes. Please address all comments to me. Only one person has the floor at a time. Discussion between parties is not allowed. Once you have asked your question or made your comment, I ask that you yield to the next person speaking. If you are proposing an amendment, I may ask for it in writing to ensure that we record it properly. We will discuss only one amendment at a time. This is simply to ensure that we keep everything straight. Please keep in mind that every individual in this room wants what is best for the school. I ask that you respect everyone's opinions. All those wishing to speak will be allowed to speak before any speaker has a second chance. Remember, any article or amendment to an article can be reconsidered at any time unless a vote is taken to restrict reconsideration. Once reconsideration is restricted, the article cannot be reopened. There are 2 school board positions open. Tom Van Jess and Scott Baker are running for these 2 open positions. Okay, we're going to be starting with the operating budget. James, motion.
Madam Moderator, I move to place the article as presented on the floor for discussion.
And my name is Matt Ferreira.
Wait, Greg, we need a second.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Matt, go ahead.
Thank you. So I am Matt Ferreira, the business administrator for SAU 21. I'm just going to briefly outline the 2019-20 proposed budget for the Northampton School District. And it really was established with the intent to align with the overall mission here at Northampton to provide education that empowers individuals to be caring, competent, responsible citizens who value learning as a lifelong process. So in keeping with the school's mission, the proposed budget was developed to achieve the following primary objective of providing an appropriate funding and resource allocation that maintains the current high level of learning opportunities to properly educate our students here at Northampton, while also being cognitive of the fiscal responsibility to the community and the taxpayers at Northampton. And I do want to take this moment to thank the school board for bringing forth a budget that we feel operates this school in an effective manner that really can provide learning focused at the student level at the forefront, and also the budget committee for being that fiscal agent, and really both entities taking a real close look at the budget line by line, account by account, to make certain that Northampton is heading in the right direction. So thank you. So as you're all aware, we have seen some declining enrollment over the years here at Northampton. However, as highlighted by this chart, we have hit a plateau over the next 4 years. We do not anticipate any further decrease. We should be in the 20 student range from where we are currently. And this budget has been proposed as with that in mind. So the proposed 2019-20 operating budget is $9,131,074. This reflects a 3.47% increase over the 2018-19 budget, and this represents a dollar increase of $306,227. Now, I do want to note that there are 4 accounts within this budget that represent an increase of $325,012. These are accounts that are either contractual or state and federal mandated accounts. So we're looking at special education, which is seeing an increase of just over $75,000, SAU services at just over $80,000, employee benefits at over $132,000, and transportation at just over $36,000. If you were to remove these accounts, we'd actually have a proposed operating budget at a decrease of 0.21% or $18,785. So I do want to briefly review the each individual budget function within the budget with the associated increase, decrease, as well as the reasoning for that variance. For the first function is regular education, which we've budgeted for $2,422,787. And this is a decrease of just over $47,000. And this is due to a decrease in certified salary, staff salary, due to the fact that we're redefining a 1.0 full-time equivalent enrichment coordinator position to a 0.6 equivalent outdoor education teacher position. And actually, if you all had a chance to pick up, we do have a kind of a question and answer fact sheet back at the back table. I mean, it does address that position in particular in pretty great detail. I won't waste your time right now, but it is at the back table. It's also online on our website if you want a little more definition as to why we're going forward with that change. Additionally, our special education function, we're budgeting for $1,636,851, which is an increase of just over $57,000. And this increase in special education is based on student need as dictated by IEP services, which are mandated by state and federal law. Oh, geez. My apologies. There we go. Student activities, we are budgeting $83,878, which is a decrease of just over $16,000. And this is due to a decrease in admissions based on the revisioning of week-long overnight field trips to multiple one-day field trips. Our guidance account is decreasing by just about $250, and we've budgeted $80,865. And this reflects a slight downward adjustment for guidance supplies based on actual expenditure history. Additionally, our health account is seeing an increase of $355 for a total budget of $62,607, and this is based on additional need for nurse supplies and software. Our speech services account is budgeted at $102,052, which is a decrease of $12,695, and this reflects an adjustment of a full-time speech language assistant to a 0.6 equivalent position. This is another item that is addressed in the question and answer sheet that is in the back table, as well as on our website. When we do make these type of changes, we want to make sure that the community is fully aware of our reasoning and why we're moving forward with that type of change. So our improvement of instruction account is budgeted at $127,692, which is a increase of just over $20,000. This is primarily due to the under budgeting for a new curriculum coordinator position in the 2018-19 budget, and the 2019-20 budget reflects the actual cost of the new hire. Our educational media account is budgeted at $125,278, which is a decrease of $2,859. And this reflects a decrease in certified staff salary due to the anticipated lower salary of a new hire to fill an open position that's due to retirement. So our technology account is seeing an increase of just over $4,000 for a total budgeted amount of $298,320. And this increase is due to the redefining of the current information technologist position to a systems administrator position. And this is really just a reflection, or it's to accurately reflect the actual role and the additional responsibilities. This department did see a restructure last year, so we needed this full year to really define that role and what that position would be responsible for. Further, we are continuing our investment in the one-to-one laptop initiative, as well as software and professional development is included in this account. We did see a slight decrease in the certified staff salary account due to the anticipated lower salary of a new hire to fill an open position due to a resignation. Our Board of Education account is seeing an increase of just over $2,000 for a total of $37,007, and this reflects an increase in legal services based on actual expenditure history. Our SAU services account is seeing a significant increase of just over $80,000 to a total amount of $308,974. And this reflects an investment in an enhanced vision of the SAU envisioned to better serve all of our districts here in the SAU 21. The goal is a more consistent, collaborative, and efficient operation that benefits all stakeholders by improving services and increasing cost effectiveness. So this includes our competency-based education planning and implementation, the hiring of an SAU-level Director of Student Services to take a more holistic approach to our special education guidance and nursing services, Power School across all districts, as well as other technology synergies. Our school administration account is budgeted at $278,413, which is an increase of just over $9,000. And this is due to the administration's salary costs of living adjustment, as well as professional development, including Power School training. Our buildings account is seeing an increase of just over $18,000 for a total budgeted amount of $501,614. And this is due to a number of factors, including the cost of living adjustment for all the facility's staff, additional repair and maintenance needs, so this would include HVAC controls and septic, and the cost of furniture and shelving for our new Library Learnings Commons redesign. The increase is offset by an anticipated savings in heating fuels due to the natural gas conversion that we completed this summer. Our grounds account is budgeted at $40,850. This is an increase of $3,400, and this is due to the purchase of a new sander for the town of North Hampton, which provides sand and salt treatments to school grounds per the terms of our agreement. As you know, we do in-house snow removal up to a certain, inch or size of snowstorm. And we also utilize the town of Northampton, who provides that sanding and salting. Our vehicles account is budgeted at $601, which is a decrease of just under $1,600. And this decrease reflects an anticipated financing of a new truck to plow the school grounds that I just referenced. And this is replacing an existing 10-year-old vehicle. I will note that the proposed purchase of the new truck is a separate warrant article that you'll see later this evening. Our transportation account is seeing an increase of $57,000 for a total of $471,250. And this reflects a new 5-year contract with First Student to supply regular education student transportation services. Further, we are seeing an increase in special education transportation based on student need as dictated by IEP services, which are mandated by state and federal law. Our debt service account is budgeted for $133,625, which is a decrease of just under $500. And this account provides for the principal and interest payment on the bond issue for the last building project, which is primarily renovations. And the last payment is scheduled for August of 2023. So our employee benefits is budgeted for $2,216,221, which is a fairly significant increase of $132,000. So the primary driver for this increase is employment benefits. It's the result of an 18.5% guaranteed maximum rate for health insurance premiums. Further, the New Hampshire retirement system increased their employer retirement contribution to 17.8%. I will note that as part of this account, we did reduce the budgeted amount by $85,000. Northampton had established a health insurance, a health care expendable trust for this exact purpose to mitigate increases in health insurance premiums as well as unanticipated health insurance costs should a large number of employees, get married or have children, that would increase health insurance rates. So this is actually the first time that we are budgeting for a lower amount with the anticipation of withdrawing from that expendable trust. We will see how we go through the year. I will note that the GMR is not the final health insurance premium, that the rates will be revisited in March when we will get the final premium rate. Hopefully that does come down and we will not have to take as much out of the trust. Our interfund transfer is budgeted for $16,000. This is an increase of $3,500, and this is based on actual expenditure history. And just for those of you who may not know what an interfund transfer is, this reflects, so we have our general fund, which is the budget for the entire operation of the school, and then we have the school nutrition fund. So that's a separate account. So if by law, if we have a deficit in the school nutrition account, we have to transfer from the general fund into the school nutrition fund to balance that account. Our food service account as a whole is budgeted for $186,189, which is a decrease of $2,700. This reflects some recent significant equipment purchases the last few years, as well as repairs in the kitchen, and we do not anticipate the need for new equipment in the near term. I want to take this moment to discuss the default budget. So by definition, the default budget is the mechanism for operating the school district should the operating budget not pass at ballot. So the default budget is calculated by taking last year's operating budget, increasing it or reducing it by contractual or federal or state mandated laws, and then decreasing it by one-time expenditures. So for this year, for 2019-20, the Northampton default budget is $9,182,602, which is actually $51,528 more than the proposed operating budget. And I really think this is a testament to the hard work that the school board and the budget committee did, and taking a look at every single account and see where we could make cuts, where there were discretionary accounts. We also have seen declining enrollment, which is reflected in this amount. You will see some of the primary drivers for the default budget include $88,000 for salary specialists, $68,000 for education associates, a decrease of $145,000 for tuition, an increase of $80,000 for SAU services, an increase of $181,000 for health insurance, and a decrease of $41,000 for retirement. And that is all I have for the
Why,
operating
thank you,
budget.
Matt.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'll open it to the floor then for any questions or comments from anyone. You can come up to the microphone.
Hi, my name is Sam Chekovich. I live at 182 Atlantic Avenue. And first of all, I've lived in this town a long time, and I probably don't recognize 90% of you, but that's my fault probably. As far as the special education needs go, if a child warrants needs, do they have to live in this town? Can somebody answer that for me? Anybody?
One of you.
Well,
Yeah, yes, all the students that are served by this school in regular education and special education are residents of this town.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Hi, Bobby.
We have 2 students from neighboring towns.
Can we pass a microphone over to him?
Hi, Eric Anderson, principal, Northampton School. We have 2 students, I believe both from Hampton Falls, who are tuitioned in. So they attend Northampton on a tuition basis. So Northampton School District pays, Hampton Falls pays the Northampton School District.
Okay. One other question. How does the school administration verify that the child actually lives in the town?
yeah, we have a registration process.
Okay.
And a check of documents, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And a verification of documents.
Okay, so if a child comes into this town, can they live with a grandparent if they need special education?
So if a child moves into a town, generally speaking, it depends on the arrangements within that family in terms of who's responsible for that child. So it's a much more complicated answer than can someone move in and live with a grandparent.
Okay. Does the person that the child's living with have to own property in the town, or can they be renting in the town?
They can rent.
They can rent.
They can rent, okay. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks.
Any other comments or questions on the operating budget? Come on up.
Hi, Karen Backstrom, resident 56 Post Road. Just a question about the curriculum coordinator position. I see an adjustment for meeting the need for what the actual cost was. And I pay attention to everything. I'm always here, but I'm not sure how, I guess my question is how that curriculum coordinator came into play. Was that hired last year that then we had to adjust for what their salary was? Is my first part of the question. And the second part is, with that increased cost, we are kind of front-loading, or, I don't know, heavier on administration as we're talking about decreased enrollment. Looking at special ed coordinator position moving into the SAU office, I wonder now how that affects Tracy's position, because she is special ed and assistant principal. And if it was looked at combining curriculum coordinator and assistant principal, because it is more top-heavy on the administrative end, even though the enrollment's gone down. So curious about how that came about and if that was looked at.
Thank you. Matt, do you want to take that?
Yes, so the curriculum coordinator was at part of the 2018-19 operating budget. The amount we budgeted was lower than the position, or when we went through the hiring process. The person that we ended up hiring had the qualifications and experience that warranted a higher salary. So
yes.
that's where that differential we see lies, in addition to this year's cost of living adjustment. So it's somewhat exasperated in that.
So she was a new hire in the budget last year, new hire beginning of this year.
Correct.
And that's the adjustment, because that makes sense.
Right. So it was presented last year's budget.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we budgeted a little lower than what the actual was. As far as the special education, sure.
So the other part of your question, it's a great question. And what we've said beginning in the conversations to the joint board in the fall was that every board would have that discussion over time, I believe, as these positions become open, right? So for example, in Hampton Falls, we've had an interim in the special education role. We're having a conversation with them as to how the director of student services position at the SAU level affects that position.
Exactly.
They may choose that it doesn't. They may choose to go to an assistant principal. But that's their discussion and their choice. We've really said that that's a discussion for when those positions become open. We believe that that position, that director role, saves districts. We've said this at every finance committee meeting. We believe that over 2 years, that position more than pays for itself in terms of the increase in Medicaid funding, in terms of the shared services among districts that can occur. But the specifics of your question will be played out over time by each district.
Okay, yeah, because I see the savings. Like, I recognize why putting it under that SAU umbrella makes sense, but it's only a savings if it shifts finances here in this building.
If I may?
Yes, you may.
No, I don't actually think that's the major area of savings.
Okay.
Right? We think the savings is really in the ability of our districts, and we've done a lot of work on this in the first 7 months that I've been here, in terms of looking at our programming across districts and figuring out where right now we're not terribly efficient, because we don't look at what one district's doing with a 0.6 position versus another district having a 0.2, and there's not been conversations about how they might combine that position as one example, or second of all, how they might look at programs like preschool and those kinds of things and operate them jointly. SAU 16 has a joint preschool for their SAU. That might be something that districts might want to take a look at. This position gives us the ability to do that, which we believe saves money and provides better service over time.
James, you have a comment?
Just to add some scale to that, across the SAU, the districts spend approximately $12 million on special education for all the schools in the SAU. So even a couple of % savings in that will save hundreds of thousands of dollars across the district in various ways. And not that it's going to be spread evenly, but that would achieve savings across all the schools in the SAU as they combine services and look at ways to leverage that a little bit more effectively, which is just something we're not doing now. And I believe that we are the only multi-district school district in the state that doesn't have someone in that position coordinating those efforts across the district. So.
Yes, and I see all those points, and I think that they're smart, and so I don't want to appear as though I'm against that decision to put it under the SAU, but I just was wondering how that rolls out then within this building too. So,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Karen. Any other questions or comments? Come on up.
I'm Melissa Romanowski, and I live on Walnut Avenue. This is my first meeting, so thank you for listening. But I've heard the decline in enrollment referenced a lot, and I'm just wondering if the goal of the community and for the school is to increase enrollment, and if so, what programming or changes are in the works to reach that goal? You know, as, you know, the SPED and the technology I heard, but what else?
Matt, do you want to take it, or which one of you?
I wouldn't say there's any specific programming in place to do that. It's been a demographically driven effect that all the communities around here have seen. Approximately 10-year period, we've gone from over 500 students to about 340 now. That's a similar decline that many of the other communities around have seen. It's happening all across the state. We had an enrollment study that we were working off of that was done in 2011 that projected the declines we've seen actually pretty accurately. We had an updated study done last year that's showing that it appears that we have hit the bottom there, because we're seeing larger incoming kindergarten class sizes. The largest graduating classes have gone out. The last 2 years were 60 students going out, and classes around 30, 35 coming in. So we have seen that start to tick back up, which is encouraging. We do want that to grow. I think we see population increasing in town, so we're hopeful that trend will continue back up. It is challenging to manage around these declines financially. You know, it's not always as easy as, gee, there's 15 fewer kids, so we can have one fewer classroom, because they're spread across all the ages. So it's not always the easiest thing to manage around, and so we'd very much like to see a situation where we're stable or growing as opposed to decreasing. But it's largely demographically driven, but we are seeing people come into town. I think it speaks to the quality of the school and the regular education and the special education we provide that draws people here as the kind of town they want their kids to go to school in.
Okay, so the goal of the enrichment coordinator, is that the new position? The enrichment coordinator, that definition will kind of help to streamline that, I'm hoping?
No, that's, you want to give some?
Is that a
Who do you
second
want?
question?
Who do you want to answer that?
Eric?
Well, because some of the
Eric,
things were like enrichment coordinator, student activities, guidance, health, media, so I'm just wondering how, like what's going to replace those, you know, because they're, you know, part of the.
Thank you for your question. In terms of the goal of the restructuring or redefinition of the 1.0 enrichment coordinator to the 0.6 outdoor education teacher, is really student contact time and direct outdoor education or environmental experiential education services for students on a weekly scheduled basis. So that will increase student time in outdoor education or environmental education related activities. We have, over the last 2 budgets, this budget included, made very modest, admittedly, but modest increases in either extracurricular, co-curricular, or enrichment activities. So student activities outside of school time have increased moderately. So there are more opportunities now, and certainly again with next year's budget, than there were previously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on the operating budget? Okay, with no further questions or comments, Article 1, operating budget, will move to the ballot as written.
Madam Moderator, I move to restrict reconsideration of Article 1. Second.
All those in favor of restricting reconsideration, please raise your card. All those against? Motion passes. Okay, moving on to Article 2, Seacoast Education Association.
Madam Moderator, I move to place Article 2 as presented on the floor for discussion.
I second the motion.
Matt, do you have some comments on that?
Yes, thank you. So I do want to just touch upon the cost component first. So this is the collective bargaining agreement between the SAU 21 and the Seacoast Education Association. Year 1, the total estimated cost is just under $147,000. Year 2 is a little over $137,000. Year 3 is $156,000, and year 4 is $145,000. So the proposed CBA is the result of a collaborative negotiation process that we all felt was both fair to our outstanding teachers, but also fiscally responsible for our community and taxpayers. So I want to quickly summarize some of the significant components of this agreement. So this is a 4-year term for the CBA with a 2.75% annual cost of living adjustment, which I will note is below the rate of inflation at 3.4% based on the Portsmouth Index, Consumer Price Index, at the time of the negotiations. Additionally, there are some slight increases to the stipends and course reimbursements, as well as some significant adjustments to health insurance. So this includes the removal of a high-cost Blue Choice health plan in year 2 of the agreement, as well as a provision to open negotiations should the Affordable Care Act excise tax, the Cadillac tax, take effect. We've also are changing the prescription plan from a 3-tier program to a 5-tier program that we anticipate recognizing savings on. And we really hope that these changes will not only save on premium costs, but will also avoid potential ACA excise taxes. And we do hope to drive employee behavior to be better smart shoppers for medical and health-related services. Additionally, we did have some language adjustments, which we really worked closely with the individual building leadership to really get their feedback on what would help them operate their individual schools in a better manner. So this included a focus on relevant professional development linked to a teacher's current position, goals, or in an area of need for the district. A better accountability for meetings, class coverage, and training opportunities. And we hope that this will help our leadership better manage the staff to provide for more efficient, high-functioning operations. So I do want to quickly touch upon the effects should the CBA fail. It would result in a 4th failed proposed CBA in the last 10 years. SAU 21 compensation is still competitive, but it is trending down relative to surrounding districts, which could negatively impact our ability to attract and retain our valuable teachers and deliver our high educational standards. School administration is concerned that teachers may leave SAU 21 for surrounding districts to regain their missteps whenever a CBA fails, they do not receive their step, and to achieve higher salaries. One last note I want to make is that the CBA is a collaborative agreement. It is important to note that the CBA needs to pass in all 5 school districts within SAU 21 for it to take effect in any one district. So each town does have 2 ballot questions, one for Winnicott and one for their local school district. It needs to pass on both of those ballots in every single town. So if it were to fail on the Winnicott ballot in Seabrook, it would fail for Northampton as well. I do want to take this opportunity to thank Dan Singer, who was part of the bargaining team for Seacoast Education Association. He really worked in a collaborative manner with the teachers to bring forth this really win-win agreement that we're presenting to the agreement. Actually, Dan's in the back of the room right now. Thanks, Dan. Furthermore, we did put together an informational video that really goes into some great detail on this agreement. I know this was just a brief summary, but we go into really the specifics of it in this video. This is posted to the Northampton website. It's on social media, Facebook, Twitter. Additionally, you can find it on local access TV if you're in Hampton or Seabrook. Unfortunately, it's not here at Northampton. But it is out there for consumption. I'd really recommend checking out that video. And that's all I have for the CBA. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Any questions or comments on Article 2? No. Okay. Article 2 then will be moved to the ballot as written. Moving on to Article 3. Oh, go ahead.
I'd like to move to restrict reconsideration of Article 2.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All those in favor of restricting reconsideration on Article 2? All those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, now we're going to Article 3, long-term maintenance.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I move to place the article as presented on the floor for discussion.
Second.
Matt, would you like to discuss?
Yes, thank you. So the proposed warrant article addresses the ongoing long-term maintenance projects at Northampton School. This warrant article calls for $65,000 investment for maintenance projects the district intends to complete in the 2019-20 school year. This includes upgrades and repairs to the garage, including trim, roof, and siding, as well as seal coating and crack sealing the west side parking lot and the courtyard. And finally, the replacement of the accordion-style wall with a permanent wall between the music and the gymnasium. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Any questions or comments on Article 3? No questions and comments, then Article 3 will move to the ballot as written. Moving on to Article 4, roof replacement.
Madam Moderator, I move to place Article 4 as presented on the floor for discussion.
I second.
Matt?
Thank you. So warrant Article 4 calls for the raise and appropriation of $30,570 for roof repairs for Northampton School. This is the shingle roof on the backside of the main building and the perpendicular section forming an L shape, which has reached end of life and requires replacement. The proposed replacement aligns with the overall roof replacement plan that was developed in conjunction with our roof consultant, who may actually be here. I saw him earlier. It is part of the multi-year cycle for necessary roof replacement here at Northampton. I will note that the proposed roof replacement signifies the second to last replacement in the cycle prior to a period of approximately $15,000 with no replacement scheduled. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions on Article 4? No questions. Article 4 will move to the ballot as written. Moving on to Article 5, truck lease.
Madam Moderator, I move to place the article as presented on the floor for discussion.
I second.
Matt?
Thank you. So warrant Article 5 is for the for a 3-year lease agreement in the amount of $49,500 for the purpose of leasing a pickup truck with plow package. So I want to note that the Northampton School, again, I know I've mentioned this before already this evening, but we do perform our own snow removal in-house utilizing this truck outfitted with a plow. And the current in-house snow removal saves the school district in significant outsourced snow removal expenditures that we see in our other SAU 21 schools. The current truck will be 11 years old to start the 2019-20 fiscal year, and due to the heavy usage of snow removal, the truck is experiencing significant annual maintenance and repair costs, and it is reaching end of life to the tune of a few $1,000s the last couple of years. The proposed warrant article provides for the first year of a 3-year financing term for a new, more powerful truck outfitted with a plow that provides more controls than the current basic model that we do currently use. Should the warrant article pass, the subsequent 2 years will be included in the operating budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions or comments on Article 5? Come on up.
Sean Dione, Grandview. Just doing the math, it's $1,300 a month for a 3-year lease. Is that correct?
So leases, I'm sorry. It's a little bit of a misnomer. In public education, they structure the financing as leases with a $1 buyout at the end of the term. So really, it's a financing. We're purchasing the truck.
Okay.
So it's not
0%.
$1,300 a month. It's $1,300 It's an annual cost of 13,000 or 16.
We will own the truck at the end of the 3-year period.
Right.
Okay.
For a total of
Okay.
just,
Purchase, it's the nomenclature they use.
Yeah.
Purchase.
Okay.
So we will own the truck at the end of the 3-year period.
Okay, so then, of course, after that, your budget will go down on the cost of that vehicle.
correct,
Once we
correct.
own it,
It'll
except
just
for
be repair and
maintenance.
maintenance at that
Okay,
point. So,
thank you.
my apologies. We try to make everything as complicated as possible.
Any other questions or comments on Article 5? Okay, then Article 5 will move to the ballot as written. Moving on to Article 6, Special Education Expendable Trust.
Madam Moderator, I move to place Article 6 as presented on the floor for discussion.
I second the motion.
Matt?
Thank you. So Article 6 rather, provides for the raise and appropriation of $75,000 to be added to the Special Education Expendable Trust. So we are finding that budgeting and associated funding for the special education does continue to present fiscal challenges to our district. The Special Education Expendable Trust was originally established for the purpose of funding these unanticipated costs. As such, it is beneficial to replenish this Special Education Expendable Trust to safeguard and mitigate future unexpected costs. And if you look at our history, the last few years, we have been making withdrawals due to the fact that special education costs have been over our budgeted amount. I will also note that funding for the Special Education Expendable Trust comes from any potential available year-end fund balance, so it is not raised via additional taxation. And our current balance is $231,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Any comments or questions on Article 6? Article 6 will move to the ballot as written. Moving on to Article 7, Healthcare Expendable Trust.
I move to place the article as presented on the floor for discussion.
Matt, I'm assuming it's you that's going to talk about it.
Oh, thank you. So Article 7 provides for the raise and appropriation of $75,000 to be added to the existing Healthcare Expendable Trust Fund. So the trust was established for the purpose of funding and safeguarding the school district against increasing health insurance premium costs or unanticipated health insurance-related expenditures. I touched upon earlier this evening when we were discussing the benefits account under the operating budget. We actually under-budgeted by $85,000 to knowing that we had this trust available to withdraw from. I will note that the funding for this healthcare expendable trust does come from potential available year-end fund balance and is not raised via additional taxation. Our current balance is just under $120,000, and the target balance is $200,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions or comments on Article 7? Article 7 will move to the ballot as written. Moving on to Article 8, Building Maintenance Expendable Trust.
Madam Moderator, I move to place the article as presented on the floor for discussion.
I second.
Matt?
So warrant Article 8 calls for the raise and appropriation of $25,000 for the Building Maintenance Expendable Trust, which was established for the purpose of funding and safeguarding the school district against building and facilities-related costs or unanticipated building maintenance-related expenditures. An anticipated withdrawal of $10,000 from the Building Maintenance Trust has been approved due to the failing intercom, the PA system at the school. So we do anticipate a withdrawal this current school year. And I do want to note that funding for the Building Maintenance Expendable Trust does come from potential available year-end fund balance and is not raised via additional taxation. Thank you.
Any questions or comments on Article 8? If not, then Article 8 moves to the ballot as written, and we move on to Article 9, Discontinued Energy Expendable Trust.
Madam Moderator, I move to place the article as presented on the floor for discussion.
I second.
Go ahead, Matt.
Thank you. So the Energy Improvements Expendable Trust was established for the purpose of a multi-year funding plan to convert Northampton School the heating system from oil-based to natural gas. That project was completed this summer of 2018, and there is an existing balance of $1,079 existing. So the proposed warrant article will dissolve this Energy Improvements Expendable Trust and return that unexpended funds to the town to offset assessment. Thank you.
Any questions or comments on Article 9? Article 9 will move to the ballot as written. Moving on to Article 10, discontinue school building expansion capital reserve.
Madam Moderator, I move to place the article as presented on the floor for discussion.
And I second.
Go ahead, Matt.
So the school building, whoa, not sure how to fix that. I'll just speak to it. The school building expansion capital reserve fund was established in 2010 for the purpose of completing the Northampton building expansion and renovation project. The building project was completed and a balance of $285 remains. So the proposed warrant article will dissolve the school building expansion capital reserve fund and return the unexpended funds to the town to offset assessment. Thank you.
Any questions or comments on Article 10? Okay, Article 10 will move to the ballot as written. Okay, I'm going to ask if there's any other business that legally should come before this meeting this evening. If not, I'm going to remind you that the second session of town meeting will occur, voting day will be Tuesday, March 12th. It will be here at the Northampton School Gymnasium from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. This meeting is officially closed.